Hello, good afternoon. Welcome. We are just starting. Welcome, we are here and very soon starting. And I hope you're all excited to be here soon. And we are again on the 59th African Women's Day. Yes, happy Africa's Women's Day to you all. Welcome to all our guests of honor and all our listeners. Our all protocol observed. I welcome you all to this long-awaited day. I'm Joy Tens, the founder of African Women in Europe and African Women in Trade. It has been my pleasure to coordinate this event and the whole awareness program. Today, we celebrate the 59th African Women Day, celebrating the political legacy of African women. We are live now on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, and we have created a poll, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. We have a few questions for you to answer. Due to tight program, we will not be able to answer your question, but please email us and we will be able to send to our guests and to answer them. We will share with you details on the chat. The chat on the Zoom is also closed to help us to have all the attention to our distinguished guests. We will have a translation for some of our guest French speakers. You will see on a globe at the bottom of the screen, and you can click and choose English language for the translation. And for the listeners who are on YouTube and Facebook, unfortunately, we will not have translation on that side. Thank you again for being here with us, and please share our website, www.africaswomenday.africa, to be able to join us with your friends. Africa Women's, as I've mentioned, www.africaswomenday.africa. And yes, we have a hashtag, Africa's Women Day. Thank you so much. So we go straight ahead and introduce our moderator of today. And we are very excited to have everyone here. Make sure you're welcome. And if the chat is full, we're gonna share with you the link to join us on on the YouTube and as well on Facebook. So welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, our moderator has been ready for us, Maya Hayakawa. And please, if you can, unmute yourself and put your camera on. And just to introduce her to you, Maya Kaya is a senior presenter at BBC. She has done a business broadcast journalist at BBC Africa. Maya is a lead presenter of BBC Africa flagship business program, BBC Money Daily. She also produces content for our over 400 million weekly BBC viewers received through BBC Africa and BBC World. Prior to joining the world of journalists, Maya started out as a program coordinator at an Afisaka Trust, a non-for-profit organization striving to reduce recidivism rates among prisoners in Kenya. Maya's journalist journey began when she became a business reporter at television, anchor for one of the Kenya biggest stations at K24 TV. Her work is covering renewable energy and the 2017 Media Council of the Kenya's annual Journalism Excellence Award. She also served as a communalist for the People Daily local newspaper, writing on issues to do with personal finance. In 2018, Maya made the big transition to BBC, taking her talent to a wider audience. And her favorite quote, and I say this, and when you want something, all the universe comprise in having you to achieve it. What a beautiful quote. I want to celebrate you, Maya, today for the great work you're doing in the media sector, and welcome again to the stage, and feel free to unmute yourself. I hope everyone can see you now and ready to take over the
Hello,
stage.
everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Having a few technical challenges, but I guess that's the norm in the world that we're living in today with the pandemic. So I am absolutely so delighted. I'm excited, and I am so honored to be your program moderator for this event today. Now, this event is intergenerational. So let me introduce to you a 10-year-old young girl, an amazing young girl who's here to remind us about the importance of today. Her name is Naledi Shikosi. Welcome, Naledi. Let's hear a few remarks from you.
Hi. Hello. The day will come when history will speak. But it will not be the history which is taught in Brussels, Paris, Washington, or the United Nations. Instead, Africa will write its own history. And in both North and South, it will be a history of glory and dignity. An extract from Prime Minister Patrice Emery Lumumba's last letter to his wife from Tazewell prison before he was assassinated in 1961. Hi, I'm Naledi Chigosi, and I am an award-winning Globuntu young author.
That message from Patrice Lumumba was very clear. Now, Africa is telling its own story. But how much of that story is it that we really know about Africa and the women and the pioneers that have brought us this far? 13-year-old Shego Fatso Shikwane has more for us. Welcome, Shego.
Hello to everyone watching. Did you know that Africa is a continent filled with many untold stories of heroes? Did you know that there is an African Women's Day since 1962? That means this day is 59 years old today. Happy birthday to all my African women out there. Did you know that when America had its very first female vice president last year, Africa had already 26 female presidents and prime ministers. And since then, we have had 4 more since July last year, all this in just 46 years of independence. Did you know that in the 76 years that the United Nations was created, only 4 women have been the president of the UN General Assembly so far? Now listen to this. The European Union Commission, established in 1958, is 5 years older than the African Union Commission, established in 1963 as an organization of African unity. Now, did you know that the European Union Commission, did you know while the European Union just recently had its first female president, us as Africans have had our very first Honorable Umama Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma as far back as 2012? Do you know that as we speak, Africa has 2 female presidents in office in Ethiopia and Tanzania, 3 vice presidents in Liberia, Zambia, and Uganda, 3 prime ministers in Namibia, Togo, and Gabon, and 1 deputy prime minister in Namibia. Now, my question to you today is, how much of your African history do you know? Stay with us till the end to find out. My name is Chokfajo Shigwani, 13 years old, and the very first Lobuntu award-winning young author. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all of those important facts, Shego. With all those reminders from the past presented to us by the future generation, it's time now for us to officially welcome our guests. A hearty welcome, Your Excellencies. I'd like to welcome President Catherine Samba-Panza, first female president of the Central African Republic. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us this afternoon. We also have with us today President Joyce Banda, first female president of the Republic of Malawi, as well as President Bibi Amina Gurib Fakim, first elected female president of the Republic of Mauritius. Also joining us today, we have Honorable Maria das Neves, first, and as well as Honorable Chairwoman, Madame Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, first African Union Commission, currently serving as Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs of South Africa. Thank you, Your Excellencies, for making the time to join us today. We also welcome all excellencies and dignitaries joining us on live stream today. Thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate Africa's Women's Day with us. I also would like to extend our welcome to our translator. We have Madame Bibiana Butaku, Senior Management Consultant. Also, a huge thank you to the incredible team that has put this program together in just 30 days, and the partners and supporters who also contributed to making this day and this event an actual reality. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this 58th Africa's Women Day celebrations. Now, before we get started, I would like to invite us to observe a moment of silence to all of our female presidents and prime ministers who have departed from us, especially Honorable Elizabeth Domitian, first female prime ministers of the Central African Republic and Africa's very first female prime minister from 1975 to 1976. Also, we lost Her Excellency Carmen Pereira, first female president of Guinea-Bissau and Africa's first ever female president in 1984. We'd like to also honor Honorable Agathe Uwilingi Mama, first female prime minister of Rwanda, Her Excellency Ruth Sando Perry, first interim female chairwoman of the Council of State of Liberia from 1996 to 1997, as well as Her Excellency Rose Francine Rogombe, first female president of the Republic of Gabon in 2009, and Her Excellency Meherizia Maiza Libidi, first female vice president of the Constituent Assembly of the Republic of Tunisia from 2011 to 2014. May we just take a moment of silence for these sheroes who have left us? Thank you very much. May their gentle souls rest in perfect power. Now, the theme of today's event is the political legacy of African women. And today we celebrate Africa's 40 female presidents and prime ministers from 1975 to date from 23 out of 55 African countries. My question to all of you today here is this: how many of them do you really know? No worries if you do not know them. We have them all lined up for you. So let's take a look at these powerful political female pioneers. Okay, well, it seems that we're having technical issues as far as the playlist is concerned. Okay, well, I can see this. All right, here we go.
Now, we can't celebrate Day with struggle for the continent's liberation, has contributed to the struggle for the continent's liberation from colonialism, the elimination of apartheid, and the eradication of gender inequalities against women. Now, since it's Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, a year before the founding of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, now known as AU, PAWO's mission has been to ensure that women's concerns are integrated in Africa's liberation agenda and that women participate equally, fully, and effectively in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the continent. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can. You can continue. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just getting some notifications on my pop-up screen over there. So at this point, we would like to acknowledge the Pan-African Women's Organization, not just for their pioneering and historical role as the first 6 women's liberation organization on the continent, but we also would like to acknowledge them for being a partner of Africa's Women Day as we celebrate this day today. The Pan-African Women's Organization cannot join us here today because they have another organization elsewhere on the continent, but they did send their greetings, and we also would like to send them back our best wishes for their event today. Now, Nana Asere is going to grace us with a beautiful poem. Nana, welcome.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you, Maya. This poem is to celebrate the African woman. From Accra to Mogadishu, I look to the future with hope. As the sun rises from the east and has set the night before. From Casablanca to Cape Town, I look to the future with vision as my dreams and my desires have become known. From the Nile to the Zambezi, I look to the future with love. As my children treasure and protect our heritage. From the Sahara to the Kalahari, I have suffered more. I have endured more. And I have been shamed more. Yet my spirit wills, and I fight more as I see ourselves on the mountaintops of the Afajato and the Kilimanjaro, as I make my world and the world fit for all mankind, to make my home a better place. I am an African woman, and I am bold. I see my world, and I am blessed. I delight in my children, making the land proud. My spirit wills, and I fight more. This is my home, my birthplace, my Africa. I am an African woman, and I am bold. Thank you. Thank you, Maya. Back to you.
Nana, thank you so much. That was such a powerful, beautiful, and indeed bold poem. It's time now for our first guest speaker. Is there really a better way to start this legacy event than the first female president of the African country that gave us our first female prime minister on the continent after independence? Corporate lawyer, human rights activist, Catherine Samba Panza has carried out numerous actions in favor of women's rights within the civil society of the Central African Republic. A woman of mediation and national reconciliation in her country. She was appointed mayor of the city of Bangui in 2013, and then she was elected head of state for the transition of the Central African Republic in January 2014. Ms. Samba Panza, acquired from a country totally devastated by armed rebellion and inter-community hatred, she was able to complete the transition by organizing credible and restored the country to constitutional order. An active promoter of gender equality during her tenure, she appointed several women to senior positions in her cabinet, rising the rate of representation of women in government from 5%, from just 5% to 29%. That's a major one indeed. Now, Mrs. Samba Panza has participated in various meetings like this one and conferences at regional and international levels, sharing her experiences as a female political leader in the fields of women's leadership, elections prevention, and resolution. She is currently president of the Pan-African Observatory of Women's Leadership and also the co-chair of the African Union Women's Network for Conflict Prevention and Mediation. She's also a member of the Global Network of Mediators. In this capacity, she carried out high-level missions with the African Union and the African nations across the continent as part of the advocacy for the increase of the participation of women in political governance, particularly in the Great Lakes region and Sudan. She is also a pioneer of the Network of African Women Leaders for Transformation in Africa and a member of the boards of directors of the Tana Forum on Governance in Africa and the Aswan Forum on Peace. Her Excellency President Samba Panza. Thank you so much. She'll be speaking to us in French. However, this will be translated to English by our translator via the channel. So you can just click on that and hear the translation. Your Excellency, thank you very, very much for joining us this afternoon. We know that you've had many on the day, yet you chose to be here with us to celebrate this special day and this special occasion and share your political legacy and experience with us. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you, first of all, doing funds and the people of...
Allô? Allô? Est-ce qu'on m'écoute? Est-ce qu'on m'écoute? Est-ce que je suis audible? Ok, très bien. Je peux commencer? Ok. Écoutez, Madame la modératrice, je voudrais vous remercier pour cette présentation de ma carrière, de ma personne, de ma vision, de mes ambitions. Mais je voudrais avant tout exprimer combien je suis ravie d'avoir été conviée à cette manifestation célébrant la journée de la femme africaine en compagnie d'éminentes sœurs africaines qui sont connectées avec moi. Je voudrais féliciter l'ensemble des initiateurs et des organisateurs de cette rencontre et tout particulièrement Madame Béatrice Achaleke qui m'a invitée pour cette belle initiative et les remercier, vous remercier tous pour cette invitation. Il m'a été demandé d'intervenir dans cet événement qui met en lumière les femmes leaders dirigeantes africaines. C'est parce qu'en effet, il y a 7 ans, j'ai conduit une transition politique dans mon pays, la République centrafricaine, dans un contexte particulièrement difficile. En outre, il s'agissait d'une des rares expériences de femmes chefs d'État chargées de relever le défi de ramener la paix et la sécurité dans un pays failli, totalement failli, de restaurer l'autorité de l'État et d'organiser des élections démocratiques. Aussi, je voudrais me réjouir qu'un événement consacré à l'expérience des femmes politiques puisse s'enrichir de l'expérience que j'ai eue à l'échelle de mon pays. J'ai reçu du coup un certain nombre de questions pour rendre la communication interactive. Je ne sais pas si je dois vous laisser me poser ces questions ou s'il faut que j'entame des remarques directement.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Let us talk about your political legacy. What was your motivation as a woman to want to get into politics?
Je n'ai pas bien entendu la question, mais j'ai compris. OK? Me lancer en politique. Ce que je peux dire, c'est que mon parcours politique est assez atypique. Ma vocation première, n'a jamais été de faire de la politique. Et pour tout vous dire, je n'ai jamais rêvé de politique auparavant. Pour ceux qui l'ignorent, je viens du secteur privé et de la société civile. Et par la suite, la politique a croisé mon chemin dans le contexte de crise, de mon pays que vous connaissez. Mais j'avais divers engagements pour diverses causes. Et ces engagements ont façonné ma trajectoire et forgé mon destin politique. Je dis souvent que l'histoire est faite de rencontres providentielles et inattendues entre les hommes et les événements. Ce fut mon cas. La politique a croisé mon chemin et le destin m'a dicté une mission pour accomplir pour mon pays et je me suis pliée à cela. À la fin de mon mandat, pendant la transition, je me suis retirée de la scène politique nationale. J'ai alors poursuivi mes engagements auprès de nombreux réseaux internationaux en m'investissant dans les processus de paix. Dans les processus de prévention et de médiation des conflits. J'ai aussi été solidaire de toutes les initiatives susceptibles de faire avancer les causes des femmes. Mais par la suite, ma conscience de citoyenne engagée a pesé de tout son poids dans les réflexions que je menais et que je nourrissais face à la situation désastreuse de mon pays. J'ai donc élaboré, conçu à l'attention de mes compatriotes un projet politique. Par ailleurs, de nombreux appels à candidature sont venus me demander de me représenter aux élections pour diriger à nouveau mon pays. J'ai été interpellée dans ma conscience de femme leader. Je ne pouvais rester insensible à ces sollicitations.
Saying that my conscience was actually telling me to do something.
C'est comme ça que j'ai été amenée à présenter ma candidature aux élections présidentielles et législatives de décembre 2020 dans mon pays.
And that is why.
Allô? Allô? Est-ce que je suis écoutée?
She's translating on the translation side.
D'accord. Alors, je me suis lancée dans cette compétition électorale sans disposer de parti politique, en tant que candidate indépendante, candidate libre. Je ne suis pas trop la traduction pour savoir si je dois continuer à parler ou pas, mais je continue à parler et l'interprète va continuer. J'ai ainsi pu relever le défi d'avoir été l'unique femme candidate aux élections présidentielles dans mon pays, mais dans des conditions logistiques, sécuritaires et financières difficiles. Les résultats auxquels je suis parvenue, au regard des difficultés rencontrées, n'ont pas été à la hauteur de mes attentes. J'ai alors décidé de prendre du recul et d'avoir un regard serein, mais critique, sur cette expérience politique pour en tirer les leçons qui s'imposent. Cela met en lumière la question de mon avenir politique. En attendant toute décision à cet égard, je poursuis mes réflexions citoyennes sur les enjeux politiques, économiques et sociaux et sécuritaires de mon pays. Voilà en ce qui concerne mes motivations au niveau donc de mon engagement politique. Dans les questions que j'ai reçues, l'animatrice me demandait également de dire quelle était ma vision de l'Afrique à l'époque et à quoi elle ressemble aujourd'hui. Ce que je peux dire sur cette question, c'est qu'il y a une décennie, l'Afrique concentrait ses réflexions et ses efforts sur la croissance économique, la lutte contre la pauvreté et la faim, les inégalités, hommes-femmes, le changement climatique, la dégradation de l'environnement et des questions connexes à ces questions principales. Les messages clés soulignaient l'urgence de tirer parti des avantages liés au lancement de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine et d'exploiter le dividende démographique du continent en libérant tout le potentiel des femmes et des jeunes du continent. Je partageais cette vision totalement. Mais depuis 2019, nous évoluons dans un contexte de défis sans précédent pour le développement mondial en raison de la pandémie du Covid-19, qui a mis en évidence de graves vulnérabilités et des inégalités structurelles en Afrique, notamment en ce qui concerne la réalisation du programme du développement durable à l'horizon 2030 et l'agenda 2063, l'Afrique que nous voulons. Il m'a également été demandé quels ont été mes principaux défis en tant que première femme présidente de mon pays et pendant mon mandat et maintenant. C'est une question qui m'a souvent été posée. De nombreuses personnes sont curieuses de connaître les obstacles, les difficultés rencontrées en tant que femme à la tête d'un État en crise profonde, comme la République centrafricaine. Je dois vous avouer que conduire la transition dans un État fragile comme l'était la RCA n'a pas été aisé. La première difficulté rencontrée était de s'imposer en tant que femme dans un environnement complexe, dominé par des hommes armés, des hommes politiques en quête de pouvoir et de légitimité, et des communautés chrétiennes et musulmanes tenaillées par la haine et l'esprit de vengeance. En outre, j'avais le défi de ramener la paix et la sécurité dans un pays totalement failli, de restaurer l'autorité de l'État et d'organiser des élections démocratiques dans un contexte de chaos total. Enfin, les efforts déployés au quotidien pour réduire la souffrance des populations, ramener la cohésion sociale et le vivre ensemble dans un contexte de violences extrêmes, de tueries à grande échelle et de tensions ethno-religieuses ont été des sources de grand stress pour moi et ont nécessité d'importants sacrifices personnels et familiaux. Mais ce que je voudrais que vous reteniez, c'est que dans les pires moments de découragement, je mesurais la lourde responsabilité qui m'incombait. Au regard de l'espoir de nombreuses femmes centrafricaines et africaines qui attendaient beaucoup de mon exemple de leadership, il me fallait porter haut le flambeau des femmes au pouvoir, notamment en Afrique. Ma détermination à réussir ma mission au nom de toutes les femmes africaines était plus fort que tout. Il me fallait prouver qu'une femme est capable d'assumer les mêmes niveaux de responsabilité politique que les hommes. Et je pensais que si en Centrafrique, je réussissais ce pari, cela donnerait espoir et courage à toutes les autres femmes qui hésitent encore à s'engager en politique. Ce que je peux dire, c'est que je suis sortie fortifiée de cette expérience éprouvante. Alors, quel est mon héritage politique? Mes états de service sont connus et reconnus par les Centrafricains et la communauté internationale. Mes compatriotes ont retenu la période de transition comme une séquence positive de notre histoire, ayant généré de nombreux résultats et acquis pour notre pays. Je peux rappeler succinctement que mon équipe et moi avons contribué au retour à l'ordre constitutionnel et mis en place des institutions républicaines. Sous notre magistère, la RCA s'est réellement engagée sur la voie de la paix et de la réconciliation nationale. À mettre à mon actif également la lutte contre l'impunité, avec la création d'une cour pénale spéciale à Bangui, d'une brigade d'intervention rapide pour la lutte contre les violences sexuelles et sans compter l'initiative de la loi sur la parité. Mais en ce qui concerne l'héritage vis-à-vis des femmes centrafricaines, je peux dire que les femmes centrafricaines sont sorties de la posture de seconde place que la société leur a toujours attribuée, grâce à mon engagement personnel pour la promotion du genre. Mon expérience au sommet de l'État est un exemple inspirateur pour de nombreuses femmes et a réveillé l'émergence d'un leadership politique féminin en RCA et en Afrique. On peut dire que j'ai contribué quand même à influencer positivement la perception publique du leadership des femmes à travers l'Afrique. Mais au-delà de cela, j'ai également le devoir de mémoire de célébrer, comme vous l'avez fait tout à l'heure, la première femme Premier ministre de la RCA de 1975 à 1976, bien avant Margaret Thatcher en Grande-Bretagne. Il s'agit de l'honorable Élisabeth Domitien. Elle n'avait aucunement démérité et demeure une grande figure de l'histoire politique de la République centrafricaine. Vous m'aviez demandé également de mener des réflexions en deuxième partie et vous me demandiez quels conseils je donnerais aux jeunes femmes et hommes qui aspirent à des postes de direction politique aujourd'hui. Je leur dirais avant tout qu'il est fondamental de savoir que lorsqu'on aspire au plus haut niveau de responsabilité politique, on n'est plus maître de son destin. On devient surtout un serviteur. On est au service des gens et de son pays. Ils doivent donc savoir que la politique est d'abord une activité altruiste, un sacerdoce. Je leur dirais aussi qu'ils doivent avoir et être habités par le sens de l'État, c'est-à-dire aspirer à gouverner pour l'intérêt des citoyens et de son pays, et non pour soi-même. Autrement dit, servir et non se servir. Cela requiert beaucoup d'exigences en termes de leadership public et de sacrifices de tous ordres. Des sacrifices financiers, communicationnels, stratégiques, psychologiques, éthiques, organisationnels et de réseautage. Alors, quel est mon message aux Africains alors que nous traversons la pandémie actuelle du Covid-19? Je voudrais leur rappeler que la pandémie du Covid-19 est redoutable et qu'elle continue à tenir le monde sous son emprise. Le virus continue de se répandre, y compris en Afrique, avec l'apparition de diverses variantes plus virulentes les unes que les autres. Il est donc absolument vital de continuer à respecter les mesures restrictives prescrites par les autorités sanitaires. Cela dit, la pandémie du Covid-19 a bien changé nos vies. Le monde ne sera plus comme avant. La Covid-19 a été révélatrice des limites de modèle de développement économique qui a prévalu jusqu'à ces jours. Cette pandémie doit à présent nous amener à promouvoir un nouveau modèle économique et social. Mais malgré ces nombreux défis, la pandémie du Covid-19 est une occasion unique et opportune pour les pays africains de renforcer leur résilience et de bien s'équiper pour faire face aux crises et aux chocs futurs. Qu'est-ce que je peux dire en plus de tout ce que j'ai déjà dit pour conclure mes remarques? Je voudrais, dans la lancée de ce qui a déjà été dit, que nous avons vu qu'il y a eu et qu'il y a aujourd'hui en Afrique des expériences de femmes au sommet de l'État et des femmes premiers ministres ou à la tête d'institutions importantes. Nous nous réjouissons très sincèrement de voir des femmes africaines de valeur au plus haut niveau des centres de prise de décision. Mais l'Afrique attend de voir davantage des femmes dans la gouvernance politique de leur pays pour que le continent se porte mieux. L'Afrique attend de voir davantage de femmes africaines de plus en plus aptes également à affronter les facettes économiques, scientifiques, technologiques, environnementales de la compétition mondiale pour la transformation du continent. C'est pourquoi il est nécessaire de mettre en place une nouvelle dynamique permettant de faire mieux entendre la voix des femmes sur les questions de paix et de développement du continent. Comme on a coutume de le dire, et c'est mon mot de la fin, aux politiques de femmes, il faut des femmes politiques. En langage simple, cela veut dire qu'il est nécessaire de faire naître des femmes leaders politiques, car quand les femmes ont le pouvoir politique, elles peuvent promouvoir plus de pouvoir social, politique et économique pour les autres femmes. Je vous remercie infiniment pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your message to Africans, for shedding some light on the challenges that you faced, and for really taking your time to spend this afternoon with us. Thank you so much for sharing light on your political legacy, and wishing you all the best as you continue doing everything that you do for our continent. I'd like us to just keep in mind that we are also trying to keep time with our programs. So let's kindly stick within the 15 minutes time frame. Republic, we move to Malawi to welcome our next guest speaker, Her Excellency Joyce Banda. Her Excellency Joyce Banda was the first female president of the Republic of Malawi from 2012 to 2014. Now, her political career started in 1999 when she was elected as a member of parliament in Malawi. Her political legacy includes, but is not limited to, these positions: the vice president of the Republic of Malawi from 2009 to 2012. She was also the Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2006 to 2009. She also served as the Minister of Gender, Child Welfare, and Community Service from 2004 to 2006. Madam Joyce Banda founded the National Association of Business Women in Malawi in 1990. She is also the founder of the Joyce Banda Foundation for Better Education. She's also a member of the Global Leaders Council for Reproductive Health since 2010. And last but definitely not least, she is the founder and leader of the People's Party, created back in 2011. Your Excellency, we are so humbled that you have come to join us today, despite some of the commitments I'm sure that you have. Let's just begin by hearing from you in terms of how you're doing, how the people of Malawi have been dealing with this pandemic, and what their spirit is like during this difficult time. Your Excellency, can you hear us?
I can, but I don't, you can hear me?
Yes, I can see you and we can hear you. It's really good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Madam Moderator, distinguished guest speakers, and the distinguished committee that organized this event. First, let me thank you most sincerely for inviting me. And it's so good for me to be amongst these distinguished ladies that are participating this afternoon. I thought that for the purposes of taking advantage of my 15 minutes, I would do like a question and answer, but I thought that I should share my story because I think that is what some upcoming women trying to enter politics would want to hear. So the first question that I must answer is, what got you into politics? I think that my story has always been different from others. There are so many that will actually make a decision to enter politics. In my case, I have championed 4 areas that I call my pillars in my life. And this originated from personal experience. And this is what took me to politics, what led me to politics. And these 4 pillars are education, gender-based violence, health, and leadership. Going to school as a small child, fortunate to have a father who was working, who sent me to school. I had a friend in the village who was not as fortunate as myself. We ended up going to the end of primary school. My friend was brighter than me. We went to, both selected to the best girls' secondary schools. She went one term and didn't go back. And at age 14, I woke up to the injustice of that women face particularly young girls. At that time, I didn't know, but that just didn't make sense to me that my friend couldn't continue with education and I was going to continue. As it turns out now, 39 million girls in Africa are not going to school through no fault of their own. And UNESCO announced last December that 9 million girls have also dropped out of school as a result of COVID. So that's what we are dealing with. But I woke up very early and I decided that for as far as possible, throughout my life, I will spend every spare penny that I have to send as many girls as possible to school. And I'm proud to say that as of now, I've sent 6,500 girls to school, 1,500 to university, 30 of them medical doctors. The second one is gender-based violence. I was married at 21 and spent 10 years in an abusive marriage and packed my bags and left when people didn't leave an abusive marriage. And I decided that if all men are the same, I'll never get married again. But later on, I found a fine man. I went shopping for a better man and decided that I would therefore spend my life fighting gender-based violence. I will never stand by and watch a woman be abused. So that is my next pillar. The next one is health. At age 34, 34, I went to give birth to my fourth-born child, and he suffered what they call postpartum hemorrhage. I was bleeding to death, and that is the first time I realized that in Malawi alone, 1,200 women were dying giving birth, just second to Sierra Leone, who was recovering from war. And I decided that I was going to spend my adult life fighting maternal mortality as far as I can. And the fourth one, of course, is leadership. So leadership is what we are talking about today. The challenges, the opportunities, and what is it that we can do to push as many women as possible into leadership on the continent of Africa, so that side by side with our male counterparts, we can move this continent forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, so my work, all that work, sending girls to school, fighting maternal mortality, and it's starting 4 organizations in Malawi, earned me numerous awards, but on the ground, the Joyce Banda Foundation, the National Association of Business Women, the Hunger Project Malawi, the Young Women Leaders Network have reached out and touched 1.3 million Malawians. So this is the work that people saw. And so the community chiefs and leaders in my area are the ones who asked me to go to Parliament. Don't you think you should be sitting where the laws are made so that you can help change those laws that negatively impact on women and girls? So the first time I went to Parliament, I was 54, so it was late. But I went at 2004 for the first time, and fortunately, the moment I went to Parliament, I was appointed Minister of Women and Children. By the way, I also served as Foreign Minister for my country, side by side with the Honorable Nkosazana Zuma, who is also on this panel. So what were the main challenges that I faced as president? Let's skip that. Let me talk about what is it that happened. Fast forward. I was elected with my president as running mate in 2009. And because of my work before, what I brought to the table was the women's vote. For the first time in this country, a president and his running mate won by over 67%. It has never happened before, and I don't know if it will ever happen again. So it was very clear to Malawians that I had brought the women's vote to the table. So in 2009, we were elected, President Bingu Mutharika and myself as his vice president, and served 3 years in that position. The challenges that I faced, first and foremost, I have been unlucky and maybe lucky in my country that I've been first this, first that, a lot of firsts. I was the first woman to head a statutory corporation. I was the first woman to start a foundation in my country. That has got its own implications. I was the first woman to be vice president in my country. People struggle to place you. People struggle to understand. People struggle how they can deal with you, especially men. in that position. If you are going to be the first woman to head a state corporation, and so in that boardroom, you are the only woman, but not only are you the only woman, but you are chairing that board. That has got its own challenges. But this, in the absence, I mean, looking at the 15 minutes I have to skip a lot of this, but that, having been first this, first that, had its own challenges. And particularly the position of vice president. It became very clear to many people in Malawi that I was too close to power. I was too close to the president, and that anything could happen and I could become president. And so I always want to tell women that it's not a rose garden. It's not easy, but somebody has to do it. And women have to accept and take responsibility and participate in leadership, regardless of the challenges we face. But in my career, in this period, particularly the time that I was vice president, I had 2 assassination attempts. And I'm just so glad that I'm here, because one of the assassination attempts, my security, my policeman who was trying to save me, my life, was hacked to death. But here we are, and I believe that the more we stand united and the more we stand together, these dangers to fellow women trying to stand for elected office will become less and less. In the middle of that vice presidency, it became apparent that I couldn't continue. And so my party decided that because they saw clearly now that I was gaining momentum and gaining popularity, I would become the next president in 2014, I was expelled from the party. So here was a situation where I then formed my own party. My own party during the same term, where my president was heading the other party, which I was also co-founded. I formed another party, which is the People's Party that you were talking about. As you can recall, 2011 was a year before I became president. So one day, on April 5th, 2012, the president dropped dead. And the president then, everybody said he had just collapsed. And it's a long story. Everybody knows that the body then was smuggled to South Africa. Malawians were told, he's not dead, he's just sick. He's in hospital, admitted in hospital. And yet he was in a morgue in South Africa. 72 hours, I was under siege. My security had been withdrawn. Anything was going to happen to me. You have to read the Commission of Inquiry report, because what the army commander had been asked to do was to take over and make sure that I don't take oath. But anyway, as things turned out, 72 hours later, the army commander intervened. And so I was allowed to take oath on April 7th, 2012, and became the first female president in my country. So here I am getting into government, which means now the people that were in government are automatically going to become opposition. And these are the people that had given me a tough time during the 3 years. These are the people that had tried to kill me in 3 years. Suddenly they are an opposition. So I worked during my tenure as president under very difficult conditions, because it was an angry opposition that I had to deal with. But in order for me to bring the nation together, that's what you must know, is that as a leader, you must rise beyond your own personal feelings. And I had to reconcile the nation, bring everybody together. I took oath. The first day I took leadership in 2012, 7th of April, there was no fuel for a day. There was no electricity in the country. There was no food for 2 million people. Companies were operating at 35%. And the women, 675 women were dying giving birth, etc., etc. Our relationship with our neighbors had been broken. UK in particular, our ambassadors had been recalled. So this is the first day I get into office. And so it is to navigate a situation like that, to begin to rebuild. I had to rise beyond my own personal feelings about how I had been treated, bring the nation together, reconcile the nation. And I think the advantages of us as women leaders is, in fact, this particular one, that we don't hold grudges. We rise above personal feelings. Number two, for us as women leaders, it's about leading. It's not about ruling. It's not about the power. It's about serving. I have been asked, so what would be your political legacy? What were your achievements? In the time that I was the president, the economy, because I have to give figures, well, this is what can easily be checked and verified. During my time as president, the economy of Malawi grew by 6.2%. Industrial capacity improved from 35% in 2012 when I came in to 85% when I left. Fuel reservoirs were built, were constructed, but also we had now fuel for every 15 days, as opposed to the zero the zero per day that I found. In fact, fuel to take me to my president's funeral was donated by the president of Zambia. I also fought corruption. This is one other area that is extremely difficult for leaders to tackle, because in the end, there's such smear campaign and propaganda that people may never know who did what. And so leaders, as far as possible, sometimes they avoid it. I was advised to avoid tackling it, but as a woman, I didn't see any other way. And so I fought corruption. And at that time, when I was alerted that they had been theft, I ended up arresting 72 people. The report for this is online, so anybody can have access to it. I also passed the domestic violence bill. Number 5, appointed women to leadership positions. I think I would want to encourage fellow women when they get into positions of leadership of any organization, whether it is a country or a board or a company, is to ensure that fellow women are getting appointed to leadership positions. In my case, Malawi for the first time had a female chief justice, a female head of civil service, a female solicitor general, 2 deputies of the Central Bank of Malawi, 8 district commissioners, head of law society, law commission, head of human rights commission as well, and 100 appointments that everybody can come and check. Good governance was also key during my time. I ensured that we repeal all the punitive laws that had been passed by the previous government. And the maternal mortality was reduced from 675% to 460, 32%, which was recognized by the African Union. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have been asked, what was your vision of Africa when you got into politics, and how does it look like today? I knew then and I know now that the greatest asset Africa has is its youth, 70% in most countries. This can either be a curse or an opportunity for our nations. And therefore, my view is that countries need to have the political will to make sure that the youth are integrated, that the youth are recognized, and the youth are listened to, and the youth are given opportunities. We don't need to lose our young men on the Mediterranean going to Europe. If there's political will, we can create opportunities for them. So what do we do as governments to make sure that we change our situation? I knew then and I know now that it is very important to introduce or to implement pro-poor programs. Socio-economic transformation of rural populations is key, particularly women. Participation of women in high positions. Pay attention to the health sector in your country. Provide education to the masses, especially in countries like mine where 85% of the people are rural-based and most girls and boys may not be going to school. Agriculture is important, and value addition, agribusiness, cross-border trade, and the mechanized, commercialized, and industrialized agriculture so that it is looked upon as business. And number 7 is to take advantage of the continental free trade area for our people and create jobs for young people in our countries. For me, as far as I'm concerned, Africa is a sleeping giant with almost 1.3 billion people. The 54 countries have a well-organized regional organization, the African Union, and that we must take advantage of. The continent is endowed with huge deposits of minerals and natural resources. We have the potential to transform the lives of our people if we stay the course in the implementation of Agenda 2063. African leaders must also intensify its fight against corruption. The natural resources in our countries are God-given gifts to our people, not us as leaders. It is not acceptable that 79 billion of our money leaves the African continent through illicit movement of money every year. Am I optimistic? Yes, I am. I'm optimistic that women shall participate in leadership, that we can gain equal participation one day. And why do I say this? Because the good news is that Africa has made more progress than most continents in achieving the participation of women in leadership. We have had 5 female presidents. Now we have the 6th one in Tanzania. So, I mean, I know continents in this world that have had democracy for 200 years, and they're still trying to get one woman into State House. The first president is not yet in State House. They keep trying and failing. And the other day I was laughing because they got the first vice president and they were celebrating. While in Africa, we have now the 6th female president, numerous vice presidents, 50-50 achieved at the African Union. African Union, in fact, achieved the parity a long time ago. 63% of women in parliament in Rwanda. So the highest in the world is on the continent of Africa. 30% in most parliaments and most cabinets as well. Several presidents on the continent have appointed half of their cabinet women. So Africa needs to build upon this progress. And how do we do it? By engaging our men and working together with our men. We are going to take a different approach. We are not going to march on the streets. We are going to sit down with them on the table. And I'd like to give you an example here in Malawi. Women were demonstrating against the number of women appointed to cabinet. And I phoned the president and I said to him, women are on the street demonstrating, Your Excellency. What are you going to do about this? And he said, no, I'm in State House, they're on the street. How do I hear what they're saying? So my proposal is that we women, as we form a lot of networks and take our agenda forward to achieve gender equality, it is the men we must engage. We must sit down with them to open up space at the policy formulating tables in order for us to sit there as well. People have asked, so how are we doing within the pandemic now? We made so much progress after Beijing. Here we are in the midst of pandemic, 25 months since last year. What is your view? My view is that we must have innovative financing to recover during the recovery program, post-COVID recovery programs. Africa must fight to have access to the manufacture of vaccines. I'm a signatory of a letter that we wrote to President Biden. WTO must waive the guidelines for the manufacture of vaccines so that some countries that are already in Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, have all said they have the capacity to manufacture. They just need to be allowed to do that, because we are sitting here in Africa waiting for leftovers while the rest of the world is vaccinating. Here in Malawi now, we are at the peak of the 3rd wave. But what is apparent is that 90% that are dying and in hospital are those that have not been vaccinated. So we know that vaccines are the answer. So we are sitting here, African countries. It's not our fault, but why is the world not taking responsibility to ensure that there's vaccine equity? And this is the time the United Nations must rise. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my other worry is that while we are concentrating on COVID-19, we are ignoring the other diseases. And that is also a bomb waiting to explode. So governments must pay attention to both. The tragedy is that during COVID-19, poverty has increased. Dropouts in schools have increased. Teen pregnancies and child marriages have increased. Gender-based violence has increased. So for me, this is the challenge that we face. Now my question is, during COVID-19 alone, my final thought, during COVID-19 alone, the rich have become richer. This is according to a Hurun report of last month, which said that the richest people have become richer during COVID-19. So therefore, my question is it not also another issue that we as Africa can push to ask, to request, to call them to order, to call them to take responsibility, to tell them to be transparent, to spend some of that profit in the post-recovery of the African nations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on, but I thought that those are the thoughts that I would share in the time allocated to me. Thank you very much for the honor to allow me to participate in this discussion. Thank you.
Madam President, thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your thoughts. The key takeaways that I have from here is that we can use our personal experiences, the personal experiences that we go through each and every single day, to inspire us, to motivate us, to want to bring about real change in the community that will benefit not just women, but also the entire story, to see how you have been the first of so many, and that you have opened so many doors for young women who are aspiring to make a real change in this world. Thank you, Madam President. Moving on now from Malawi to a beautiful small island. I'm sure that you've all heard of before. I'm talking about Sao Tome and Principe. To meet our guest speaker, Honorable Maria.
Hello, sorry, Maya, we cannot hear you well.
Like all incredible African women, we are celebrating a rich political legacy. Now, besides alternate administrator of development, consultant to the Central Bank of Sao Tome and Principe, Minister of its Industry and Tourism, EPLP parliamentarians, deputy and chairman.
Unfortunately, we are losing Maya. Are you back?
Hello?
Maya?
Hello?
Well, I think I will just turn now to Honorable Maria.
Okay, okay.
You must go home, you must have a constituency.
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, yes, okay.
Okay,
With
fantastic. Let's.
Okay. Okay, now.
Yes, let's hand it now over to you.
Ok, thank you very much. Je voudrais saluer la modératrice de ce panel, Madame Maya Ayakwa. Vous m'écoutez? Hello? Allô?
Yes,
We,
we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes,
Continue, Madame Prime
we
Minister.
can hear you.
OK. Donc, je voudrais saluer la modératrice de ce panel, Madame Maya Ayakwa, ainsi que les anciens présidents de la République et premiers ministres qui participent avec moi à ce panel. Et je suis honorée et ravie de partager ce panel avec des personnalités ainsi distinguées. Enfin, j'aimerais vraiment déjà un mot de grande appréciation et de sincères félicitations aux organisateurs de cet événement, y compris ma sœur Béatrice, pour leur excellente et louable initiative de tenir ce forum comme une sorte de première graine sémée dans les terres fertiles de l'Union africaine en vue de recollecter des fruits durables à moyen et long terme. Et plus qu'une journée de célébration, le 31 juillet doit être une journée de réflexion sur le passé de l'Afrique, sur son présent et sur ce qu'on devrait faire pour son avenir, en commençant pour faire face avec une inquiétude accrue aux problèmes qui malheureusement affectent encore ces grands continents et aux énormes défis qui l'attendent, y compris les questions liées à l'égalité des sexes. On m'a demandé qu'est-ce qui m'a motivé à lancer la vie politique. Vous savez, avant l'indépendance de Sao Tomé et Principe, j'habitais dans un quartier dans lequel se situait l'association civique qui, à l'époque, revendiquait l'indépendance de Sao Tomé et Principe. J'ai donc accompagné les actions et participé à des manifestations. Et là, il y a une fois où les femmes sont descendues dans la rue, toutes vêtues de noir. C'était en 19 septembre de 1974. Et ils ont marché vers le palais colonial pour demander l'indépendance de notre pays. Ce jour-là a été marqué comme la journée de la femme satomienne, qui est célébrée chaque année. J'ai trouvé cet acte d'un grand courage, de bravure de la part des femmes. Et ça m'a inspiré à me lancer dans la politique et apporter également ma contribution. Et j'y suis restée jusqu'aujourd'hui. On m'a demandé quelle est ma vision de l'Afrique à l'époque et à quoi ressemble aujourd'hui. Bon, pour moi, à l'époque, c'était une Afrique excessivement patriarcale. Outre les problèmes liés à la pauvreté, l'insécurité alimentaire, les conflits armés, la violence, il y avait, et qui persiste encore, la question d'inégalité entre les sexes. Les femmes et les filles étaient défavorisées dans les nombreux domaines, n'avaient pas les mêmes opportunités que leurs homologues masculins. C'est le cas dans pratiquement tous les domaines de la vie politique, de l'accès aux services sociaux de base, aux droits patrimoniaux, en passant par les inégalités sur les marchés de travail et la vie politique. Bien que des problèmes de diverses natures persistants, l'Afrique progresse dans plusieurs domaines. Dans le domaine économique, par exemple, l'économie africaine a connu une croissance bien qu'encore modérée pour satisfaire les besoins croissants de la population au niveau de l'éducation, de la santé, de l'emploi, du logement, etc. Il est aujourd'hui totalement reconnu que l'Afrique est le continent de l'avenir, incarnant un nouvel espoir avec des enjeux géoéconomiques, géopolitiques et géostratégiques, au-delà de l'attrait d'un simple marché en forte croissance. Cela aussi a un impact dans ce qui concerne la question des genres. En ce qui concerne la participation dans la vie politique, il y a eu du progrès. Je me souviens, par exemple, que vers les années 2000, les femmes n'étaient pas invitées qu'à être ministres des femmes, de la condition féminine. Aujourd'hui, nous voyons déjà des femmes à occuper des postes de haut niveau, tels que ministre de la Santé, de l'Éducation, des Affaires étrangères, de la Défense, Premier ministre, Président de la République, etc. Toutes ces fonctions qui étaient, dans certaines manières, réservées aux hommes. Aussi, je me souviens encore d'un événement auquel j'ai participé en 2000 au Burkina Faso, une réunion des ministres de l'économie. Et j'étais la seule femme présente. C'était comme si j'étais dans une caserne. Même dans mon pays, j'ai participé à un gouvernement où j'étais la seule femme dans un univers de 12 membres de gouvernement. Au cours de la législature 2006-2010, j'étais la seule femme au Parlement de Sao Tomé et Principe, dans un univers de 55 membres. Aujourd'hui, la participation des femmes à la vie politique prend d'autres proportions. Cela contribue au changement de l'Afrique, car je crois qu'il n'y aura pas de démocratie pleine tant qu'il n'y aura pas une participation effective des hommes et des femmes à ces possessions. Bien que des progrès ayant été réalisés, nous avons encore un long chemin à parcourir pour atteindre une véritable égalité, une équité entre les sexes. On m'a demandé aussi quels ont été mon principal défi en tant que première femme, première ministre dans mon pays. Je voudrais vraiment que j'avais une responsabilité supplémentaire.
I realized that I had responsibility,
yes,
which was secondary.
J'avais une responsabilité supplémentaire en tant que première ministre, première femme première ministre. J'avais une responsabilité supplémentaire envers les femmes et le monde. C'est de montrer qu'il est possible pour une femme de devenir premier ministre, un poste qui était réservé aux hommes, et obtenir de bons résultats. Mon gouvernement, c'était un gouvernement d'unité nationale, était composé par 6 hommes et 5 femmes. Et c'était dirigé par une femme. Ceci dans une société patriarcale où l'on croyait que les femmes étaient faites pour servir uniquement et être à la maison reléguées aux tâches domestiques. Un autre défi consistant à démontrer que les femmes étaient capables de concilier les obligations domestiques et professionnelles, d'être une mère, d'être une femme au foyer et en même temps de diriger un gouvernement. On m'a demandé aussi, selon moi, quel est mon héritage politique. Et les autres diront que moi-même, je pense. Mais quand je pense à ce qui a été ma contribution au niveau politique, notamment dans l'élévation du statut des femmes, je pense à grande lutte contre la violence domestique faite aux femmes. J'ai été à la genèse de la loi contre la violence domestique, que certains surnomment comme la loi de Maria das Neves. J'ai également été la protagoniste d'une résolution de l'Assemblée nationale qui établit une cote de 30% pour la participation des femmes dans tous les organes de décision. J'ai été la première femme première ministre, la première présidente du réseau des femmes parlementaires de Sao Tomé et Principe. J'ai été président du réseau des femmes parlementaires de la communauté des pays lusophones. Donc, je crois avoir participé d'une certaine manière au changement de la condition de la femme dans la société de mon pays. Et aussi, j'ai publié un livre avec une stratégie pour le développement de mon pays. C'est que c'est quelque chose qui reste et qui pourra servir les autres. On m'a demandé aussi quel conseil je devais donner à jeunes femmes et hommes qui aspirent des postes de direction politique aujourd'hui. Aux jeunes femmes et hommes qui aspirent des fonctions politiques, je leur conseillerais tout d'abord d'être humbles, honnêtes et d'investir dans leur éducation, la formation et la santé et de se battre vraiment pour des causes nobles, pour la défense des plus vulnérables, afin qu'il y ait une société plus juste, plus solidaire et plus équilibrée. L'objectif essentiel doit être d'améliorer les conditions de vie des populations afin de réduire la pauvreté en Afrique et de promouvoir les progrès économiques, sociaux et environnementaux gage d'un développement durable. On m'a demandé aussi quel est le message aux Afriques à l'heure de la pandémie actuelle. Je dirais, ne lâchez rien, accrochez-vous, réinventez-vous. Essayons de trouver des opportunités dans cette tragédie parce qu'elle existe. L'Afrique est sans doute l'avenir et nous devons continuer à nous battre pour atteindre nos objectifs. Il faut qu'on continue à se battre contre la violence faite aux femmes, qui s'est beaucoup accrue avec cette pandémie, contre la pauvreté et pour la paix. Malheureusement, cette pandémie, elle est venue pour rester. Alors, on doit s'adapter et se protéger et faire avec. Finalement, on m'a demandé quelle autre chose je devais remarquer. Continuons de promouvoir ce genre de discussion au sein de l'Afrique, car très bénéfique et toujours se battre pour la promotion de l'autonomisation de la femme en Afrique et d'égalité des sexes. Vraiment, je vous remercie de votre amable attention.
Thank you very, very, very much for to share your political legacy with us. Notice that I had my camera off. Right, Diana Wood, who's been translating for us from French to English. Now I'd like to pass it on over to this young, beautiful 16-year-old author to give words of wisdom.
Hello. I am here. Hi. Happy Women's Day. I am here to share some powerful words from our guest speakers with you. Powerful quotes from Her Excellency, Ma'am Joyce Banda. The seeds of success in every nation are best planted in women and children. I will always be proud of what I have done, regardless of what you journalists can say. I have learned that leadership is about falling in love with the people and the people falling in love with you. It's about serving with selflessness and sacrifice and the need to put the common good ahead of personal interests. Powerful quotes from Her Honorable Ma'am Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma.
This Women's Day, we must still remember that we have lots to do to draw courage to continue to fight and free all women to reach full potential. May we never forget the heroines that labored this freedom that we enjoy. May we at all times try to emulate their spirits. Today, we take a step back and look at the road we have traveled. We celebrate freedom and the right to self-determination, but most importantly, we must recharge our batteries and get ready for the road ahead. Draw inspiration, to draw inspiration, empower young people today, and to honor the legacy of those who died fighting for a better future. Powerful quotes from Her Excellency Mam Bibi Amin Garib Fatou. Considering legacy gives you a compass to move with purpose and determination, even in the most uncertain of times. Great leaders sometimes fail because failure to listen to question their mistakes. Powerful quotes from Her Excellency Catherine Samba Panza. I am not in a hurry, but I believe I had a specific mission which I had to accomplish. When I came into office, I knew that I was going to respect the rules, namely that I was not allowed to run for president in the following elections. I am proud to leave my position having respected these rules to hand over a governable country to new leaders to come out the polls. I call on my children to put down their arms and stop fighting. They should not live in fear. I don't want to hear any more talk of murderers and killers. Starting from today, I'm the president of Central Africa without exclusion. Girls have to get much interest in public matters. The international matters must affirm themselves by making frank, open, and honest commitments in the area of protecting women's rights, in the area of politics, and in all other sectors. Sometimes when a woman is questioned on this or that subject, we're less informed than boy. My name is Shimangazo Afeziwe Chikosi, and I'm an award-winning Lubuntu Young Author.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing those powerful words. I'd like us now to cross over to South Africa in search of our next guest speaker. We have Honorable Dr. Nkosazana Kahis Dlamini Zuma. Now, in 2012, Madame Nkosazana Zuma made history by becoming the first female chair of the African Union Commission, a position she held until 2017. Now, Honorable Nkosazana Apartheid, she is one of the ministers who have served all 5 presidents of South Africa since independence in 1990. Some ministerial officers, she is Foreign Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Cabinet of President Nelson Mandela, and then twice in the Cabinet of President Thabo Mbeki, from the Cabinet of President Kgalema Motlanthe from 2008 to 2009. From 2000 in the Cabinet of President 2018, she has been serving in the Cabinet of President Cyril Ramaphosa, first as Minister of the Presidency for Planning 2019, and currently as Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honorable Madam, we are so honored to have you here with us
today. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming on and taking the time on this very important stage to speak of your political legacy have made and the contribution as well. Let's get the legacy of African women. What got you into politics? What got you motivated and inspired and your vision for Africa as a continent then and now today?
Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, Maya Hayaku. Let me greet all the panelists and all those who are listening on this platform. And I appreciate being invited to this because this is a very important day for African women, and also to participate with such distinguished women like presidents and prime ministers. This is a great honor for me. What motivated me into politics? Let me just say that I didn't enter politics as such because when I joined the struggle for freedom in South Africa, politics was really for the white people. Africans were just oppressed, exploited. And I lived in the rural hinterlands of South Africa. And we were living under very difficult conditions. We didn't have clean water. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have proper roads, no telephones. The schools were few and far between. Health facilities were also few and far between. We Africans only occupied 13% of the land, even though they were 87% of the population. And that 13% of the land was on the mountains, rocky, and the land that was arable, agricultural land, was occupied by the people who had taken it away from us, the colonizers. And also, with the discovery of gold and diamonds, people were forced to, especially men, were forced to go and work in the mines and work on the farms, but to leave their children and partners back home in the rural areas. School was free and compulsory for white people, but not for us. There was job reservation for whites. Even if you hadn't gone beyond primary school, you had a job reserved for you if you were white. In the banks, there were queues for blacks and queues for whites. In the buses, everywhere there was discrimination. Even if you went to the park, you would find a very interesting situation where the person who's looking after a white child, an African woman looking after a white child, the white child is sitting on the bench on the park because the bench is written whites only. And the nanny who was looking after the child is sitting on the grass. So those are the things that drove me into the struggle. I joined the African National Congress, and I eventually was hunted by the police, and I had to leave the country, go into exile, but continue with the struggle until we had to, until we came back when apartheid was defeated. But just to show what whites thought of us, I'll quote one of the architects of apartheid. He said, "Blacks should never be shown the greener pastures of education they should know that their station in life is to be hewers of wood and drawers of water. That's what drove me into the struggle. And of course, with all this, there was also the oppression of women, discrimination of women, both in the home, they didn't have land, they didn't inherit, but also at work, they were also discriminated against. So we said that women in South Africa had triple oppression. They were oppressed because they were Black, and because they were women, and because they were workers. So those are some of the things that drove me into the struggle and eventually into politics. Because I think if I lived in a normal country, maybe I would never have been in politics. But because I lived in a country where we were oppressed, I couldn't stand by and just accept that oppression. But also, I had a father and parents who didn't discriminate. They made us do the chores, whether you were a girl or a boy, you did all the work. Boys cooked and ironed and washed and cleaned. We also did the same. We worked in the fields. We had to do any job that was there. So I didn't grow up feeling that because I'm a woman, I'm inferior or my brothers are superior. But my father also always stressed that girls must go to school because he doesn't want to see her children living in abusive relationships for a plate of food. So what was my vision of Africa? My vision of Africa then, when I was young, was that the whole of Africa should be free and from colonial subjugation, because there were still many countries then that were not free. But let me also say I was also inspired by the Pan-African Women's Organization, because they were the first to form a Pan-African organization when men followed with the Organization of African Unity a year later. And I think women are not given the recognition that they should be given for having done that. And of course, when I went to the AU, I believed that we needed to be integrated and build a prosperous, peaceful Africa driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the world arena. But one of the things I really didn't like at the time was the fact that Africa had most of the arable land that was left in the world. 60% of arable land that is still free is in Africa. But Africa imports a lot of food that it should be producing itself. That's one of the things that I thought we should change and feed ourselves and even assist to feed the world, because we have enough land and we have water, we have sunshine, and we have our most precious resource, the people. But also what I didn't like about agriculture in Africa as a whole was that the majority of people who worked on the land were women, but they didn't own the land. Most of them didn't own the land and didn't even own the produce that they produced on that land. The other thing was that Africa was accounting for only 2% of the world trade. And we were only trading amongst ourselves about 10, 12%. And yet the rest of the world trades in their neighborhood before it trades with far-flung countries. But with us, when you ask us who are our biggest trading partners, we would call countries across the seas and the oceans. And that's why I was so keen that we should indeed launch the negotiations for the Africa Free Trade Area, which we did launch. And I'm glad that now it's there and operational. The other thing that also worried me, and I was keen that it should change, was the fact that Africa is like a big island. We have 2 oceans and we have 2 seas, but we are not so keen on using the oceans as an economic frontier, and yet the oceans are a big economic frontier. For instance, on the continent, 90% of the goods that we import or export are done through the maritime highways, but none of us own those boats that carry food, that carry manufactured goods from other countries to our continent and carry raw material out of Africa to other countries. We don't even, very few even carry the flag of an African country. So that's why we were very keen that we must indeed have the ocean economy and look at the ocean as a big opportunity. And maybe if I were to go to what were the challenges when I got to the AU as the first female chairperson of the commission, let me say, actually, to my surprise, I didn't have much challenges at a personal level. Maybe because I'd been foreign minister for 10 years and most of the people knew me. And so at a personal level, I didn't have much challenges, but at an institutional level, there were lots of challenges. If you look at the AU then, there were very few female directors. So we had to try and make sure that when we fill positions, we try and get females to be there. And I made sure that if they bring 3 names to me to choose who should be appointed for any position, I would refuse to look at the 3 names if there was no female name there. Of course, we were also constrained by the fact that you also had to look at the quotas of countries and regions, regional spread, but still we tried to do that. And also the challenge was that women didn't have a direct voice into the AU. So we tried to make sure that the women had their pre-summits so that when the summit of the AU starts, we are able to then infuse the decisions and the recommendations that come from the pre-summit women's dialogues, which I found very useful. And also PAU, which was the oldest Pan-African organization, was not really integrated into the AU. They didn't get a space and a voice there. So that's why we try to get them to be part of the AU by making them an agency of the AU, but that looks after women in an independent way, but is able to advise the AU on women's issues. So there were lots of those such challenges which were institutional. For instance, there was a lot of complaints also that there was a sexual harassment, but there was no sexual harassment policy in the organization, which we had to introduce at the time. In the interest of time, maybe let me move on to the next question, which is what is the political legacy? I will say something, but before I say something, I don't believe that people must talk about their legacies. I believe that history and the people you serve must define what your legacy is, rather than yourself. But since you have asked the question, I'll try to just say a few things. But I really believe sincerely that history must define your legacy. But maybe let me take this opportunity to recognize the African Union staff, the African Union Commission staff, because I believe that any leader is good as its team. I don't think you can say you're achieving something on your own. You are as good as your team. So if your team is good, then you'll have good results. And I want to say that it's an institution that is as diverse as the continent, but we try to work together as a team. But one of the things also that we entrenched was to work together as the continental organizations like the ECA and the African Development Bank and NEPAD and the AU to try and work together in a complementary, not in a competitive way, but in a complementary way, so that we move towards the same direction. And that's how we also work together to get Agenda 2063, which is a long-term development vision, which is the Africa we want. And what is unique about Agenda 2063 is that it's not something that we sat in the boardrooms and drew up. We consulted almost every sector in Africa, whether it was the creative sector, artists, whether it was scientists, whether it was workers, religious leaders, youth, women. We consulted very widely to get the idea so that when we say the Africa we want, it's not the Africa that's wanted by the AU staff, but it's the Africa that is wanted by Africans. And also the African Free Trade Area. We launched the negotiations, and as I say, I'm glad now that it's going to be operational, and we must really take advantage of that also as women. And the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative and the agriculture and oceans economy is one of the things that I still feel very strongly about and that we should. But also the skills revolution. I think we must skill our people, because I think if we educate and skill our people, they'll figure out what to do with the rest. They'll be able to beneficiate our minerals. They'll be able to use our natural resources and manufacture and not export raw materials all the time. They'll be able to ensure that the oceans economy works for Africa. So the skills revolution is very important. And I also am glad that we actually launched the Africa CDC, and it's now become very handy during this pandemic. We also campaigned against the child marriages. So it's one of the things that we did. We also tried to focus on women in agriculture to say it's not fair during this century for women to still be using the handheld hoe, that we must modernize agriculture. So those are some of the few things that I can mention in the interest of time that I've been given. And then what advice do I give to young women and men aspiring to political leadership positions today? I think like President Samba Panda, I think we have to understand that if you go into politics, you are a servant of the people. So if you are a servant of the people, like the other speakers said, you must have humility, respect, integrity. You must be ethical, you must be honest, but you must work hard. You must also have compassion and love for the people you serve. Because if you are not compassionate, you won't care. If you don't love the people you serve, then don't serve them, because you won't be able to serve them well. And also, you must be responsive to them. And don't expect that you'll be praised. Most people get praised when they've left office or when they've died. During the time you are still serving, you have to expect that there will be criticism, which is fine, because sometimes it's constructive criticism that helps you. But I think the most important thing, like Che Guevara said, if you are wanting to be a revolutionary or go into politics, serve your people, you must have love for them and feel for them, respond to them. And also, don't expect to be rich, because if you want to be rich, you must go and be a business person. If you are going to politics, you must expect that you would have sufficient to live on, but you won't necessarily be rich if you have integrity and you are honest and ethical. But also, I think for women, we must know that nobody's going to fight for us as women. So young women must know that they've inherited a better world than our forebearers had. They worked hard, they fought. You must be prepared to rock the boat to change things. If you are not prepared to rock the boat, you can't change things. So young women must defend the gains that we have made, but push the frontiers forward for the emancipation of women. And what is your message to Africans as we go through the current pandemic? Well, my first message is that we should just take care of ourselves. We should make sure we wash our hands, sanitize, wear masks, and social distance. But also, we must try and, where possible, improve our immune system. But let me then say, what was so glaring when the pandemic started, and so sad actually, was to see how African countries had to try and scramble for protecting clothing, like masks, even hospital protective clothing, which is things that we should have been manufacturing as Africa. So I think the pandemic must teach us that we should be manufacturing some of these basic things. It was really sad how we're scrambling getting other countries to help us just with simple things like masks, like sanitizers. So that is my message, that we should look at this pandemic, learn from it. Even now, we are waiting for mercy from other countries for vaccines. We should be innovative. We have human beings, we have bright young people, we have scientists. We must, as governments, give them the capacity to innovate, to manufacture, so that we can even have African manufactured vaccines, which we don't have, and develop them ourselves. But also, the African CDC has been doing a good job, but I think the pandemic has also impacted on our economies and has taken them back. So I think as we rebuild our economies, we must see a silver lining and rebuild them differently from where we were before the pandemic. Try and get into the value chains, manufacture, get women into the economy, get young people into the economy. So I think as the pandemic, bad as it is, but we must then see it as a reset button on how we do things now and in the future. The last question is there anything else you would like to add to conclude? I just want to encourage young people. You know, Africans especially, we have the same talent as any other people in the world. If you took 100 people from Europe, from Russia, from China, from America, from Brazil, from South Africa, from Niger, from anywhere, the talent is evenly spread. What differs is what you do with that talent. So my view is, my additional message is that let's develop our talent. Let's get our children to school, because in Africa, especially in South Africa, we have gross inequality, lots of unemployment, poverty. But education and skills are the fastest equalizer. If we were to do one thing, in my view, it would be to educate and skill our people. Then that would be the quickest equalizer. So young people must want to learn. And we must also get our young people into STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths. We must get them to innovate, to research. We must get them into ICT. We must make sure that the jobs for the future, they are ready for those jobs for the future. And not only men, young men, but women as well they should be part of that. And the last thing I would like to say is, let's really transform our economies radically and manufacture. You know, President Museveni likes saying that by not manufacturing and sending out raw materials, we're exporting jobs. And that's why we have so much unemployment, because we're exporting jobs that should be turning cocoa into chocolate or into hot chocolate or into other products. We send it raw. We send gold raw, we send diamonds raw. And when they come back, those things, when they are finished, we can't even afford them. And we also exporting revenue, because when those things come back as finished products, they are so expensive. When we send them and we got peanuts for them. So let's really change and manufacture, be part of the value chains, and make sure that women are part of that. Women must be emancipated. They must be financially included, because if you include women, companies that have women in their top management are more competitive than those who don't have. So it makes sense to put women. But also women spend 70% of their income on their families, whereas men only spend 30% of their income on families. So it makes sense to put more resources in women's hands for the family, for community, for the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that very impressive your views there and your experiences and the advice that you've given us and the wisdom that you have shared with us. I'd like to take this opportunity as well to thank for taking their time out of their busy schedules. I think that it was extremely important to be able to, in terms of the challenges that we face, some of the achievements that they have been able to accomplish as a continent and as a gender, and how much further we can really take it. And I think today is that it's not just a gender issue, it's not just a gender topic, but it's also the fact that women are contributing so much when it comes to the economic development of our continent and the potential that women have to contribute towards the development of our continent. Thank you all. So now I'd like to hand it over. I'd like to hand it over to Ms. Joy and Zeni to continue with the program. This is it from me. My name is Maya Hayakawa. It's been a very insightful one for me, and I do hope that you all were able to learn a few things from our speakers today. Over to you, Joy.
Wow, what an excellent day. I hope you can all see me wherever you are. And yes, information is everything, as you have heard from today's discussion. Thank you, Maya Hayakawa, for all the discussion for today. And we are very, very excited to be here with you, to be able to go through the whole program. It was an intense program. We have just missed one speaker. Unfortunately, she had to step out for an emergency. But what an information day. I'm really, really excited to be here. For today, as Maya just said, I'm here to really give thanks to everyone who is there. What an inspiration, information, engaging and motivation speeches we have heard today. And all generations have been covered today, starting from Globuntu, young youth, and to all our excellencies as well. I salute you. Marvelous speeches. The last speeches, I enjoyed all of them. It was really glowing us to get more and more and more. I wish we had so much time for that. We salute you all and celebrate you today. A special thanks to our excellencies for accepting our humble request to join us today and trusting us. Although we are a new team with great mind who believed in our Ubuntu spirit, we all came together wanting to really air these African women. As you said, history, we are the ones to define history, because we need to speak up as women and support each other to next level through Ubuntu. I also want to thank as a special, as mentioned earlier, the youth who have been here and giving us insightful poems they also from one of our member who really gave us a great poem. I salute all of you all. I want also to salute us, of course, when it stands for Africa's Women Day. My mother, as usual, I would say she's a hero. She has always says, nothing is elephant. In Kikuyu, that is from Kenya, said, meaning when you work together, when you start a journey like this together, you can always achieve much more when you work together. When we started, as I said, we started as all working for one common goal voluntarily, and we wanted to bring up the speakers, knowing we had no direct contacts of our speakers, but through our network and women, we believe in our motivation, and we made it, and it shows that we can all achieve if we join hands under Ubuntu. So I thank you all for all that. That is why I want to say a big thank you to the team that did all this great work. This was a new team that came together 1st of July, and within a month, they worked day and night to make this day the awareness program through the month. Each day, we shared heroes in political leadership and through registration. And you also saw all that also went on media, on Twitter, we are also on Instagram as well. If you missed any communication, you can visit our community network, which we have created our website and we have shared on the chat, also on Facebook, and I think on YouTube, you'll get all that there, that we continue this conversation, because there's a lot more, as you can hear, what we can do together. So probably you're asking now, what's next? What next? Yes, can you imagine a team being brought of 7 together to bring up such a great program? What's next? For us, I can say next year, as you know, this celebration of the 59th, and next year is the anniversary of 60th anniversary for African Women's Day. And we are delighted to inform you that we will take part in partnership, of course, with other organizations. As you have heard, we salute the Pan-African Women Organization that has always been leading this initiative right from the beginning, and they have been working with us. We could not be able to do that together because they were already ahead, and we really recognize working with others. We believe as well in Ubuntu. More details will follow through our communication channels, so it's good to follow us as well on the, as I mentioned, the Africa's Women Day.Africas. We will also be inviting our Honorable Excellencies, if you all don't mind. I think you believe this was a very tight program that come to webinar to encourage our young women in politics and more to motivate to join politics, because we believe more women should be involved in this journey, and through your legacy and inspiration, we can really support a lot. So we'll be inviting you as well as throughout before now and the next 60th anniversary to celebrate more closer and get more information from you. We have created, of course, as mentioned, a platform. Please check out on that as well. I wanted to also recognize, knowing that I'm the founder of Africa Women in Trade, that's where Her Excellency Zuma mentioned that we need to encourage women to go in trade. And this is something that we are doing on African Women in Trade. Yeah, the other day, on Thursday, we had a women in Rwanda preparing masks, and let's move the women into the area. And we are all following the Africa Continent of Free Trade area, very excited about it, working between diaspora and our own members in the continent through trade and supporting each other. For now, I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Benga. As you can hear, we were not only women doing this, we also had men. Sabwa to introduce himself and the team, that have been working so hard to bring this together, they'll be here as well. So please welcome Mr. Sabwa. If you're there, please unmute yourself and join us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening in different time zones around the world. My name is Benga Subai. I'm the president of the African Union Day Foundation in New York City, USA. We conduct a lot of AU events since July 2006 up until now, celebrating Africa every day, every month, every year, telling our stories round the clock, to Friends of Africa and beyond. So we're happy to be here. We honor the leaders, the excellencies who grace this occasion, and we look forward to having you on. And also to the wonderful team that we have that put this together. So we thank everybody. I'll pass it over to Rahman if he's here.
Hello, I'm here. Thank you, Mr. Benga. My name is Rahman Arunsi. I'm from Nigeria. I live in Abuja. For me, as a tech entrepreneur, this has been like a learning process for me. Most of the information I got within this period and then today about the African woman, I wouldn't have gotten it anywhere. I wouldn't have gotten anybody that would have taking me on that path to learning this entire story. So first of all, I wanted to appreciate working with this team. It's a huge privilege from this side of the world. It's a huge privilege for me. So I'm saying thank you to Mrs. Joy, Madam Beatrice, Benga, and the entire team of that worked towards this project. Let me just stop here and then call on the next person. Mr. Benga, thank you so much for the opportunity to allow me to introduce myself. Thank you.
Anytime, it's a pleasure. Great having you on, and it's just the beginning. More to come. The next person will be our sister Beatrice. Or if not, yes. Or Mavis. Mavis, are you on?
We have Beatrice already.
Okay, no, you go, Mavis. Beatrice will come last. Okay, introduce yourself. Let everyone know who you are. Thanks.
Sorry, Beatrice is there on the stage. Beatrice?
No, go ahead, Mavis. Then Beatrice will come after. Yeah, check your audio. We can hear you. Okay. Okay, check your audio again so we can hear you. Okay, we're just having a little technical tea. Okay. My sister Beatrice. Yes, the floor is yours.
So a bright African good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure working on this project. In 2018, I published a book called Let's Talk About Africa's Female Presidents and Prime Ministers. And I gave me the chance to get to know all this honorable and the things that they've done. And I got the chance to meet some of them who, I'm happy to be called today's sister from my sister, Honorable Maria Das Neves. It has been a pleasure putting all of this together. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. I am the serial author of the Africa for Smart Kids book series that counts 19 titles today. It's all about getting our kids and adults to know about Africa. And I'm very proud to say that 10 of our young authors received the African Authors Award today. And you saw some of the Globuntu Books authors who were part of this program. At Globuntu Books, we not only write and publish books, we train kids, we coach kids to become leaders of tomorrow, as you could see for yourself. So I will not speak too much. I just want to appreciate the fact that it was possible for all the honorables to be here. It was possible for everyone to be here. And I'm very grateful to be part of this team. And like I said, the journey has just begun. We got so much content that we need to share. We need to have so many stories on the continent that need to be shared so that we own and drive our Africa as per the Agenda 2063. I am very, very happy to be here. So over to you, back to you, my brother Benga.
Thank you very much, my sister Beatrice. Great work. Sister Clara, are you on, please? Sister Clara, are you on? Okay, Mavis, is your audio okay? You want to speak again? Okay. We cannot hear you. Can you hear us? But we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. Okay. All right, Joy, I'll just turn it back over to you. Thank you. You're muted. You're muted.
See that? Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, Mavis is one of, I just thought of stepping there for her because she has been a lady who has been doing quite amazing work at the back, preparing the platforms, making sure that the day was on, some of you don't know some of the platforms. We know we have some platform that have been added in the social media like Clubhouse. This is something new for some of you. She has been organizing, that's where we met. And just to mention to her, she has been doing amazing work. Also Facebook, our social media, as she's in Ghana. So I want to thank her for that. Yes, thank you so much for having me here. And I hope that we are all connected now and for the future as well. And as everybody's mentioning their name, and some of you who have known me, I'm the founder of African Women in Europe, an organization that has been there for over 15 years. And our aim is to empower women, and especially here in Europe, to, as you know, most of you, that when we come here, we lose a lot of identity despite people thinking that we always have it all here. There's no manna from heaven. And we have written books to share with all our Africa continent, showing them sometimes we have to really go down to really be able to pick ourselves up. Some of us get sick. Some people of us leave us due to depression. Sometimes a lot of pressure back from home, and we've seen it all, but we try to link like-minded people together, and that's why we formed the organization to empower women, and they have been doing amazing. I've seen women having businesses, hotels, and back at home supporting each other, and actually sharing this knowledge, how they make it to there so that other women can also thrive that. Apart from that, we also give them awards. We do awards, acknowledge, as you know, here in Europe, it's very difficult to know some of these women. We need to have icons. Some of us have had our families here, and we need our children to know that there are opportunities like this. And also going through this Africa Women's Day, it was really an eye-opener to see all these heroes and sheroes. And I was one of them who was so excited, waiting for the day to share the month every day, all these beautiful women and leaders who have been there before us and we didn't know about them. These are our icons for our children and ourselves and the next generation. Apart from that, we have initiated the African Women in Trade that I mentioned earlier. That is a way of going back home and being part of the movement around the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. As we speak right now, we have over 4,000 women networking and exchanging, finding solutions. The other day we had representatives from Nigeria, also from Ghana, telling us trading opportunities. And these are a combination of both sides diaspora. Yes, Africa should be ready for us, diaspora. We are very vibrant and really want to get back home and do the very best. And now that we know all this history that has been waiting for us, and we know the beauty back at home, and now we are really embracing it in the best way. Of course, by working together, we are not bringing the ideas from here to there because the solutions are there on the ground. So thank you so much for having me here and giving us the opportunity to be here sharing with you this information of today of the Africa's Women Day. Back to you, Benga.
Sure, thank you very much. We'd just like to thank everybody for honoring this event.
Sorry, Benga, there's one more video we needed to share.
Oh, share, okay.
Yes, please.
All right, no problem.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abigail Adeze Onibunine from Nigeria. I am a medical physiologist. I am currently a third-year medical student, and I am also a graphic designer by passion. I design logos, ebooks, business cards, and a lot more. And I've had the privilege of designing all the e-flyers and posters which have been used to advertise this amazing event. My design company is called Jegusel Designs, JGUSL Designs, and we can be found on Instagram. Thank you so much to our very honorable special guests. Thank you to our wonderful participants, and thank you to the most amazing team, of which I'm very honored to be a part of, who have put this event together. I am very proud to be African, and I am so elated to be a part of this because I have always believed that African women should be celebrated. And today, I want to say to every African woman anywhere in the world that you are amazing, you are seen, and I celebrate you. I look forward to another Africa's Women Day next year, and I wish everyone a very happy Africa's Women Day. Always be proud of being African. Remain blessed.
Thank you, thank you. That was our last supporter. We've been doing all these beautiful flyers you see on the back of my side, and we thought we should appreciate it. Back to you, Benga.
Thank you very much, Joy. I would like to thank Abigail too. Wonderful video message, and our fellow co-organizer, and just simplifies what this whole event is about and everything. We just want to hear from Mavis. Mavis, is your audio working? Are you ready to go? Any final thoughts? Okay, I think Mavis may have logged off. So we just like again, we celebrate the 59th year. We're looking forward to the 60th anniversary. There's always a joke in the African Union that when the Women's Organization was formed in 1962, that prompted the men, the leaders, to quickly form OAU, or else the ladies were ready to make decisions for the continent right away. So, and we see that today. So, on their backs, on their foundation, on their legacy, as we move the continent forward. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor and privilege to be amongst you, to be part of this event, and to grace this occasion with you on this special day and on this special occasion in Africa's history. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to hand over to Beatrice to give us the last part of the things before we close. Thank you. Welcome, Beatrice.
Thank you again. Thank you, amazing team. Thank you, everyone. I am here. I am just overwhelmed. My voice is like gone, and I'm just full of emotions. And I'm just going to take this moment to say a big thank you to all to this day in celebration of African women. We want to join as a team. We want to say thank you to all the excellencies and all the honorables who joined us today. We're thinking about Her Excellency President Samba Panza from the Central African Republic. We thank you, Her Excellency Joyce Banda from Malawi. We saying thank you to Her Excellency President Bibi Amena, who unfortunately had to leave to take care of her dad. We thank you to Honorable Maria Das Neves, my sister from Sao Tome and Principe. We thank you to Honorable Minister, Madame Nkosisana Dlamini Zuma. We thank you all. We know that you have a very busy agenda. In spite of that, you took the time out to share with us. So we are very, very appreciative of you. We want to also thank all the PAs of all our honorable speakers. You did an incredible job enabling us contact, answering to emails, and giving us information. So we want to say thank you to the team around you. And as Madame Nkosisana Zuma said, you are who your team is. And I think we are here to say thank you to you, Madame, and also to all the team that work with you to make this day a wonderful day. We also want to thank our moderator, Madame Maya, Miss Maya, we call her Yakawa. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy agenda to moderate this day with us. You were an incredible moderator. Thank you so much. We thank you to the translator, Madame Bibiana Taku from Cameroon. Thank you so much for the time and for translating for our excellencies, but also for the audience. We thank you also to our Globuntu young authors, most of them who are award winners. We thank you for taking the time out to share your wisdom with us, to show us that we can count on you as the future young ladies. We also thank the parents of all these kids who allow the kids to be with us this afternoon. We say a big thank you to our poet, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name properly. You will just excuse me for this. Na Asare, thank you so much for your poem. Thank you for standing up when you saw the post about this event to come and share your poem with us. We really appreciate that. We want to say thank you to all our partners, especially those who put this event together, but also the Pan-African Women's Organization that is partner to this event and who could not be here with us today because they have another event going on. So we want to say thank you so much to the Pan-African Women's Organization for being the mother of the day that we are celebrating today. We thank all the media partners, especially BBC. Thank you, BBC, for being our media partner for this event. We thank you, GTech News and Amaka Studios for being our media partner. I use this occasion this opportunity to also thank all the people who joined us on social media to spread word about this event, be it in Clubhouse, on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms, all of you who shared in the WhatsApp groups. Thank you so much for sharing and making sure that we got so many people to participate at this event, to be part of this historical event. We want to also say thank you to, am I forgetting someone? Thank you to all the participants who joined in, all the excellencies, all the dignitaries who were online, all of you who joined. We want to thank you so much for taking time out to celebrate Africa's Women Day with us. And last but not least, I want to say thank you to the team. I think the whole team joins me to say thank you to the whole team again. We met on the 1st of July. And even though we did not know each other, we're seeing our faces on screen for the second time, in course of this event. But we were able to put it together because we all believe in this day, because we knew that this was more than just an event. So I want to say thank you to the team. They already introduced themselves, but I would love to acknowledge them. Again, please allow me to do so. I want to acknowledge Ms. Joyce Sant for having taken the lead on making sure that this day happens. I want to thank Mr. Benga Subea for also being very instrumental and setting up the Twitter account and making sure that we get this thing going. I want to appreciate Ms. Abigail Adezie One, who could not be with us, but we saw her video. She did all the beautiful flyers that you could see. She worked night and day to make sure that we have beautiful images for this event. So we say thank you. Clara Okoro, who could not speak, get as many media attention as possible in the short time that we were in. I want to acknowledge Mr. Raman Ikbani Arunso. He introduced himself for having set up the registration platform and making sure that all of you receive reminders as the events unfold. So thank you so very much for that. Njaboli was not here today. She was also very instrumental in getting us have access to some of our honorable speakers. So we acknowledge her as well today. Mavis Owosu from Ghana, we thank you so much also for all the social media work that you did, scheduling all the sessions in Clubhouse and on social media. So as you will see, honorable excellencies and all participants, this was a Pan-African team. The origin of this day is Pan-African since 1962. And this team that came together out of the blue, people who did not know each other, are very Pan-African. My humble self, I'm from Cameroon and I'm based in South Africa. And so it was my pleasure to join the team to organize this event. And we thank you again so very much for having shown up, for having stayed until the end. Excellencies, we did not know that you were all going to stay up to the end, but you did. And this is a huge compliment for this event. For that, we want to sincerely acknowledge you. And those of you whom I had the opportunity to talk to in course of the invitation, I realize how humble you all are, how human you all are. Sometimes we tend to think that you're too big out there, untouchable, but you were also humble. And I want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for the lessons that I personally could learn along the way, interacting with you and with the team. It was a very interesting, a very exciting learning curve. And with this, I said, thank you again. Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I hand over to our program coordinator, Madam Joyce Sant. Over to you, please.
Thank you for all that. We appreciate it so much. So for me and our side, that is the end of the program of today. So we are really excited. So as I mentioned, check us on Africa's Women in .Africa. That's where you will find us, and we'll be grateful to see you there on the day. So thank you as well for for your coordination and being here for us on this particular moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start the video, which were all the 40 all the honorables and executives that we've been sharing throughout the week. We only reached 31 and we have 40. So we'll be sending the rest to you over email. And I salute you. Let's celebrate together. Happy Africa's Women's Day, 31st today. Thank you for now.